Hi, it's Jeff Ludy with Houston Window Experts. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Today, it's winter in Houston. As you can tell, I'm wearing a jacket. When I say winter, I mean we're like in the low 40s maybe today. So hey, those of you watching from way up north, Texas, by the way, no state income tax and beautiful winters. So you might want to consider moving down here. And if you do, let me replace the windows in your house for you. That's how we can meet and get to be friends. So I'm in the beautiful city inside the city of Houston, which is called West University Place, also known around here as West U. And in West U, a lot of the houses are in the 25 to 35 year old lifespan. The windows are either rotting if they're made out of wood, which many of them were because this is an upscale, nicer neighborhood, or they're just single pane, inefficient windows, or maybe a combination of both. And at this house, the purpose we're here today is because this homeowner did not like the appearance of her wood windows. Plus she kept having to do maintenance and replace and repair things year after year after year. And so she decided, you know what, I want to update and I want to make this home a little more with today's standards, today's look. And so the windows are going to do that, but they're also going to give her energy efficiency. And so today we're using and featuring the Pella Impervia window. And you can look on our YouTube channel for an in-depth review on the Pella Impervia window. But basically the Impervia is a 100% composite window. It's made completely out of fiberglass, not Fibrex. Don't confuse Fibrex. That's Anderson's product. That's a vinyl and wood combo. This is true fiberglass product like you would see in the Marvin fiberglass or like you'd see in the Milgard fiberglass. It's really great stuff, and it's made in what's called a pultrusion instead of an extrusion. Extrusion is vinyl, pultrusion is true fiberglass. So it's very durable, it's very strong, it's got narrow profiles, you can get in lots of colors, and in this case, we actually have a black window, it's black inside, black outside. So what I want to point out to you is, if you take a look over here to your left, there's a brand new house that just got built. And this house just closed recently. And if you notice, it's got that real nice contemporary look. It's white, it's got the black trim around the windows. And actually, this is what inspired the homeowner to go from her traditional look to a more contemporary look. Now, she's not going that contemporary. That's not what she wanted to do. She wants to keep this look where she has brick and stuff. But we want to be in what we would call a transitional. It's somewhere between contemporary and traditional. So if you notice, she has brick. And what's coming next week after we're done here is she's actually going to have all of this brick painted white. And so what's going to be beautiful about that, she's going to have a really nice white look with this sharp contrasting black window made by Pella. And so these windows, as you can see, have already been put in. We saved one that we haven't put in yet so that we can show you how we do that and how that's changing and transforming the look of this house. And this is where we find Jeremy right now. Hey, Jeremy. Jeremy Devereaux. How long have you been doing this, Jeremy?
Almost 30 years.
Almost 30 years.
Yep.
And he's, what are you now? 39? You started when you were 9 years old?
No, I'm 44. I started when I was 15.
44. And for those of you who like cars, Jeremy just bought a really cool car. Tell us about the car, Jeremy.
It's a Dodge Charger, Scat Pack.
Yeah. And you did some work to it?
Yeah, I put some stripes on it, kind of make it look my own, and put a few stickers and changed a couple of badges, debadged the Dodge on the back I wanted to look just like mine. You know?
Yeah. So, okay, so this window video is about windows, but I thought I'd throw that in there. Here's a couple of pictures. We're going to flash them up for you. This is the before. This is before you had the beautiful stripes on there. You did window tint, and you know, I'm just so excited for Jeremy and his new whip.
It's been fun.
And he doesn't always get to drive it because, you know, he's actually working with a work truck and that sort of thing.
Right.
So Jeremy's role in our company is he actually is over all of our crews. Right now we have 4 crews, and we also have a service department, and Jeremy oversees all of them. And what his role is just basically to make sure that the vision of our company, right, the fact that we do things the very best possible with excellence, and we treat people with honesty and dignity and respect, especially when it comes to the center plate of our projects, which is installing the windows, that's happening, and it's happening consistently. So he's not on a ladder putting in windows, but you will find him on a ladder working alongside our team, coaching our team. And you know, sometimes I ask the question, you know, sure, we have guards in our company, but who's guarding the guards? And the truth is, Jeremy is guarding the guards. So we have great employees, great crew leaders, and then Jeremy sits one notch above them in our organizational chart, so he can make sure that what's being done is being done really well. And if you work with us, there's a good chance that you'll get to meet Jeremy, and he'll be out at your house. But this house, Jeremy and the homeowner kind of created a solution to something that her house did not do, but she wanted it to do. And this is what I love about our team and their ability to like solve problems. And so Jeremy, we've done something unique here and different than what's normal. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing differently than a normal typical installation in a home like this.
Okay, so first of all, she's going to paint her house white, and so she asked if I could make this black piece of the window go all the way over here, and we can't do that because this house is actually framed in here, so you can't go brick to brick because the inside it would be behind all the interior trim and casing and all that.
So do me a favor real quick.
Okay.
Can Clay get a good shot of explain what you're talking about there, because I think some people may miss that.
Okay, so this is a 2-inch piece of brick mold right here, and in behind that, about 3/4 of that is the old window jamb, and then on the other side of that is the framing of the house, the 2x4s, 2x6s, whatever they are, that's framing the whole structure of the home. So we don't want to take out any structure, so you cannot make this window go brick to brick.
But her goal for getting the window bigger, right, was so that she could have a real nice transition from her brick straight to the window.
Exactly. So that's the only reason she asked if we could make this go over.
Okay.
And I said that we can't do that, but we could do some things to make it look that way, because she said she was going to do the painting out here.
Right.
So what we decided to do was, first of all, we wanted to get this window out thick enough to where our trim would be out here and give her the look that she wants. So inside, we've created a jamb, an extension, and I don't know if the camera can see that, but
we'll show them on it because we're about to do a window. We'll show them when we get there. But so what you did was you wanted to push this window closer to the front.
Right, because we wanted to cover all the wood that will rot in time, and we're going to use a composite material that will not ever rot. Okay. So it'll be composite to brick to the window. So it'll be a great product.
And basically, this house I showed them just now across, next door here.
Right.
That's basically what they did there, right? I mean, you have your stucco wall, you have a quick return, everything's 90-degree, sharp, crisp angles, right to the flush front of the window. So you're telling me when we get done, the window's going to be a trim. Well, actually, let's look at this one right here. Yeah. Let's talk about it. Point out here, Jeremy, what you were just describing.
Yeah, so this is the composite, and it's not finished, but it's sitting on top of that brick mold. Okay. And we're trying to get that look over there. So when I came out, she actually walked me over there. They were just building this home. Okay. It wasn't nobody living in there. We walked all through the house, and I showed her this and I showed her that, and I told her this is what we can do to get you that look. And when the painter paints here and wraps around, and this is caulked and paints this, and then all they're going to see is this black, and it's going to look just like the neighbor's house.
It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, it will.
So the goal ultimately is going to be accomplished because we took off the traditional look of that, the brick mold, right? If you guys ever look at brick mold, it's got some little.
It is.
It's got some dips to it and some curves and definition.
Right.
This is a nice flat piece of composite.
Exactly.
Laid next to a 90-degree corner, laid next to another flat piece of fiberglass through the Pella product. So we have a real nice, crisp, clean line.
And even on the bottom, usually there's a slope. Yeah. And that looks more traditional as well.
Right. So these windows did have a slope sill.
Right.
And what we did is we basically capped off that slope.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Any concerns? Do you have any concerns about the fact that we left the old brick mold in place behind here and then we capped it with this?
No, because there's no weather getting in behind this because of our seals.
Okay.
And you do find little spots of rot and things.
I saw some in this corner earlier.
Okay,
yeah.
So that happens because the old window didn't cover all that wood. It was just exposed to the weather.
Okay.
So there's a little leak somewhere. The sash could be leaking and it just puddled there.
Okay.
But there's nowhere for this to puddle, and plus this is composite if it did, so no concerns.
Okay. So anything that did have any kind of damage or moisture damage or rot or whatever, it's like cancer, right? And we're going to just cut that out.
Right.
We remove it.
Right.
We make sure everything's cleaned and prepped. Then we put this new composite against it, seal it properly, and we put a lifetime labor guarantee on our work, and this window will not leak. If this house ever has a leak, it won't be because of the windows.
Right.
Might be a roof leak or something else has failed, but not from the windows. Terrific. Okay, so I saw you, just a quick side note before we go to pulling the window out. You were injecting the foam down there. Let's get a shot of that.
I was.
Let them see that foam, what we did down there.
So eliminating, so first of all, there's behind this foam, we put a shim in behind there because we're lifting these windows. This one here is a picture window, but the others are casements.
Casements, right.
And the way it was designed, you need to lift it so there's plenty of room for
the
that
crane
casement.
handle. The crane handle has to turn.
And we want them all to look the same.
Exactly.
So in behind there is a piece of composite 3/4 of an inch to lift it. And then I'm foaming this, and I didn't finish, but we foam all the way around the window to get a good seal before we even put the composite on.
So this is going to make a great weather barrier between her existing window frames, because we left her existing window frames. We took her sashes out. And then you're going to basically cap all of this to get the look we want, but also to make this where it's all basically a low or no maintenance product. Now, granted, that composite that we're putting up, the painter's going to paint it to match the white of the house, and that may need paint in the future, but it will not need to be replaced because it's not going to rot. Am I right?
That's right.
Okay. So tell me about this window. We left one for the camera. Tell me what you're going to do here.
So I got to be careful because we got a fish pond underneath here.
Oh, I see that. Don't step in the water.
So basically, these sashes, they come out. They're being held in by this compression jam liner. And this jam liner comes right out, as you can see. And once you get that out, that's the pocket right there. So we're going to chisel through this little stop here. And then the brick mold's pretty much on the same plane as the pocket. So when I came out and measured, we measured between the brick mold, and then we double check the inside and make sure it's on that clean plane. And then we measure here, and this is what I was talking about. This is a little deeper than normal, so that cannot give you room for your casement handle. So that's why we're shimming that up a little bit.
Gosh, Jeremy, it sounds like you know exactly what you're doing here. You know, I could see a guy with less experience not spotting that when we order these windows, and he'd measure the windows all the way to the bottom.
Right.
We'd put it in and it'd be like, uh-oh, this window can't crank open.
Right. So then the other issue we're having is the thickness, okay? Since we're wanting to cover all of this, the window's only 3 1/4, which is about this jam liner here. And since we wanted our window to come out here to match over there, we're adding a composite here, and we'll show you how to do that, but we're putting a piece in here, taking the place so it's creating a jam, so the window's starting in here and coming out farther.
Almost like a spacer, basically.
Exactly.
You're putting a spacer in between the dead air space that you're no longer going to use.
And that's composite as well, so it looks nice and clean. And but anyway, that gives us the thickness. And we don't always do that because sometimes the window's 4.5 or 5 inches thick.
It's going to depend on the product.
Yeah, sometimes we want to leave this because the people like it, right? So the window comes to here, and we seal it to the brick mold if it's in good shape.
Okay.
But she wanted it to come out and clean that look up, so that's why we're doing that.
Yeah.
So that's why it's a little different here.
Okay, so I'm going to let you do that. I'm going to show them a couple more things. We're going to come back and we'll get like a little time lapse or something of you doing this work.
Okay.
And then we'll come back and look at it when you're putting it back in.
Okay.
All right, thanks,
great.
Jeremy.
All right.
So what I want you to spot while I'm standing here is look at the contrast here. This is the before and that's the after. Before and after. And you can see just how much more of a contemporary look she's getting out of this project. She's not just upgrading the quality of her windows. She told me, by the way, that as soon as the first windows went in, right away she felt the house was quieter, it was more comfortable, and right away the house felt more balanced just in a few windows we did when we were here yesterday. This is a 3-day job because we're doing doors as well. But she's getting the look she wants out of a great product that has a terrific lifetime warranty by Pella. One thing I want to point out that's a little unique, this is really custom, I think it's cool, is her grid pattern. She actually has a grid in here, and if you notice, it's one vertical grid, one horizontal grid, but instead of putting it in dead center, or instead of putting it at the top, she wanted it in the lower third, and so Pella was able to accommodate that for us because everything they do, they can do in a custom format. I think that turned out really good. So, come inside for a minute. I want to show you what Jeremy was talking about on some of this transition look, and they're going to be pulling that window out for us, and we're going to cut for a minute here, and then we're going to go back to that. But come over here and check this out.
And this trim here is all consistent with one another. These here are all made.
She was pointing out to me how she just loved that look right there. See, that's finished now. Look how nice that looks. You've got the beautiful white trim on the inside of the house, And then you've got that nice narrow black profile right here up against the edge. These are the spacers that we used. We're talking about spacing the window, getting it further out so that we could push it to the outside. So these are the pieces we put in here. This piece down here is what we put in to shim this up, to kick it out. And then when this all gets finished out beautifully and then painted, it's just gonna be gorgeous. Come over here, I wanna show you this window. This is the kitchen window that actually operates. Not every window in this house operates, just the ones that we wanted to have operate. And he's working on the outside, but I wanna show you here, the handle's not on yet. We haven't quite installed the handle. But here's a little lever, if you can see that. This is where we unlock the window, okay? You unlock the window, and then of course here you have a little crank handle, and then you can crank this window open, just like that. So this window looks like all the other windows that don't open, but this one does operate. So from the street, you have a real nice, cool, clean, crisp, consistent look all the way across the house, but in the places where you want this to open, like bedrooms or a bathroom, for example, or right here over the kitchen sink, where you could, possibly burn some cookies one day. You have ventilation, you're able to access that. Also what I like is, if you notice, I'm 6 feet tall, right? This window's over here and it's an arm's length away. If this was a typical window like she had, where you actually had a divider here between the top and the bottom, being able to even unlock that window and being able to open that window is going to be pretty challenging. So this is a nice upgrade as well, because the handle's accessible. It's kept at a nice level where everybody can reach this handle and be able to operate the window. So we're going to let the guys go to work. We'll get a little bit of footage about that, and then we'll come back and take a look at the very end. We're in the middle of taking this window out, getting ready to put the new one in, and I wanted to just point something out. We're chiseling here, and explain, Jeremy, what we're chiseling. Like, look at the top up there. You can see where we left. We're not all done yet.
So this little stop that you see here and going around here, it's actually more than just a stop. It's actually a full 1x4, and it goes in behind the brick. Actually, it's about that wide.
Okay.
So the brick mold is laying on top of that. That part is installed as a true wooden window before they even brick the house. So it goes in behind there, and we don't want to take the brick mold off and disrupt the opening. So
Sure.
We're just going to chisel that clean, and that gets us down to our pocket opening anyway. See how it's flush there? So it works perfect. So we just chisel that off instead of trying to tear the brick mold off and the seal off and all that.
Right, and one of the reasons we do it too, tell me if I'm wrong, because you're the expert on installations, but some companies would just leave that in and then they just measure their window to that size instead. It saves a step, it saves a few more minutes, but you end up with a window, right, that's like now 1.25 inches or 1.5 inches narrower, true?
Exactly, yeah, because it's probably 5/8, 3/4 showing, so times 2, and then you got to leave a little gap too, so that changes the window size quite a bit.
So sometimes people call me and say, Jeff, I got a quote for another company, and they claim they're doing exactly what you're doing. And I mean, I don't know till after you spent a bunch of money on windows and they came out to your house, and then we go out and inspect it, but not everybody does that.
Right.
I mean, that's work.
Right.
It takes time. We could have put in another 6 windows today if we didn't have to do that on every single opening. And you can see the evidence of it right here, the fact that our window now, we measure it right to the edge of that brick mold, not that 5/8 or 3/4 over. So in this particular window, we have over 1 inch more of glass space. Am I right?
Yes, and that's about as big as you want the window. You want a little gap for expansion and contraction, and we can foam it and seal it. So that's giving them the biggest window that we can right there.
Okay, I just wanted to pause that process. We'll go back to the time lapse. Just wanted to see why we're doing what we're doing now. Okay, so this opening is about ready. Just kind of cleaning up the edges now a little bit. And Jeremy, what are we going to do next here once you get that cleaned up?
So since we're trying to get the window out here, it would normally sit here if we pushed it all the way in. We've created these extension jambs. So we're going to install these inside, butting their trim here, and they'll have a nice 1/4 inch reveal. And we're going to nail that down, and then our window's going to butt this and push our window out where we need it to be. So we're going to install these here. He's shooting down the shim first. Get your alarm wire yet. Is that about the same reveal as the other one there, or do we need to bring that bottom out some?
So what they're working on here is, we have 3 windows in a row, and depending on where you put that spacer on the bottom, determines on where the window sits top to bottom. And what we want is when you look into this room from the other rooms, as you walk in, well actually any room, but especially right here with 3 windows next to each other, that all the windows are exactly in the same spot, that all the reveal on the baseboard, not the baseboard, on the windowsills, and all the reveal on the sides and on the top is equal on all 3 sides. Because now that if you realize what we're doing is we're filling in gaps, we have the opportunity to mess this up by getting it in the wrong spot. But in this case, we're doing that to check the reveal. So you can see here, he's got the bottom 2 boards nailed in at this point. That's composite material, and that's going to serve as our base for bringing up the bottom of the window.
Milton, could you cut me one 31 3/4, please?
And what are we doing next? This is the head now?
Yeah, so he's cutting it for me now. So this is the bottom. So our window's actually gonna set on this and butt this in here.
Okay.
So this will be our seat where we're gonna sit on it. And then we're gonna cut our top and put it in. And then we'll measure tight between those for our jambs.
Okay.
And do that all the way around. So it'll be the same 2.5 inches all the way around, inside nice and clean.
And that's going to be our new stop as we
Right.
push the window in. It'll stop against that.
Correct.
And that's where we'll seal to. And
Right.
okay, very
Exactly.
nice.
Putting in the top and point out, you see the blue thing there. See, so her old windows were double hungs. And so the top had an alarm as well. And since she's not going to have a double hung now, it's just one window opening. We've twisted the wires together and put
a
the
crimp
gel.
around 'em?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you ready?
So we work with the alarm companies on stuff like this. We ask the alarm company, what do you want us to do? In this particular case, they went back with still using a hard wire. Sometimes we bury those completely and they just end up going to wireless. But in this particular case, they wanted wired, but they didn't want the wired on the top, just on the bottom. So we don't do alarm work. That's something that you need a professional to do, but we will leave the wires out for them or bury the wires based on their instruction. Now, Jeremy, what's he doing there?
So he's putting some shims because this material only comes 3/4, but we want the reveal in this inside to match the others, and they did that on the others because that leaves a perfect reveal on the black window.
Gotcha.
So we can't just use a thicker board there because they don't make
Not
it.
in a composite, yeah.
Right.
So it's interesting. Again, my observations, of course, are always why should you pick Houston Window Experts, right? But this is why. I mean, we could have just had a different reveal on the top of the windows than we had on the bottom of the windows, and probably no one would know, but we would know. And so we want it to be right. Did you hear that? 67 1/8. Not 67 and some caulking. 67 1/8. This stuff's got to be done right. Jeremy, is that just like a little brad gun? Just enough to make sure it's secure?
It's actually shooting a 2-inch nail. It's
Is it?
yeah. They are called brad guns, but that's a really good nail.
So it's really biting into there.
It is, yeah, because it's even countersinking a little bit.
Yeah.
So
makes the work for the painter coming in behind us a little easier, right?
exactly. Okay, so we're ready to put the window in.
All right, so now we got the window going in. Nice, good square opening. Nice tight fit, but not too tight. We do have to leave a little room for flexing. And we're going to take you inside so you can see the screws and how we're using those. Okay, so this is Raul working here. Raul, show us where you're putting the screw in.
Right on the corners here.
Right on the corner there.
Normally go about 1 inch, 2 inches from the corners.
An inch or so down from the top, and then the screw goes in right into that wood material we saw.
We sink them in a little bit so they can be filled in.
And so we sink them in just a little bit so they can be filled in there. So I just grabbed a screw from the ones you saw us put in over there. And I have a video where we talk about our process. I'd recommend you watch that. This is a really cool polymer coated screw that we use. It's 3 1/4. Is it
3 1/8, I believe.
3 1/8. And I go into some great description on that, but check that out, because this is not a regular ordinary screw. Just like this isn't a regular ordinary project, we want to make sure that whatever we do is actually going to last forever in this house. And that's why we're using a polymer coated with double reverse screws on it. It's pretty cool to see this screw. Check that out. Okay, so Jeremy's finally got this window in. Everything's in there great. All we lack now is we're going to foam it, and what else, Jeremy?
And we're going to put that exterior,
The trim like we talked about over there?
yeah, to build out and give her that clean block look.
Okay, so we're back. This is the day after. You've been watching the installation, and now I'm back here today to just look at things and check on it, see how it looks. And as you can see, it's just gorgeous. It turned out beautiful. The trim around the edges is just nice. It's flat, it's contemporary, but it's not too modern. And we've got the nice flat, clean lines of this Pella Impervia window, the grid between the glass, and it's just gorgeous. I love it. So thanks for watching this video. If you're in the Houston area and you'd like some more information about Houston Window Experts and the windows and doors we sell, give us a call or come by our showroom. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and tell your friends all about us. We enjoyed our time together. Hope to see you again real soon.